welcome into the Broke Jumper Podcast. I'm Dylan Klubz. He is your holiness, Tyree Pope. How we doing today, Tyree?
How you doing, man? I'm good.
I'm good too, man. I'm good.
It's been a while. We haven't done this in some weeks.
A break. We had a little break. We've both been busy. You've been working on your editing and everything. I got work too, so.
Yes, we had to get back right before the holiday season, so.
A lot to talk about too. A lot to talk about then.
We can start off talking about the Bucks and their comeback and how they're looking strong in this second quarter of the season.
Yeah. They've come on strong. They're now the 2 seed in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we talked, they were like at the 7-8 seed. Mm-hmm. So they've really turned it around.
I feel like they're getting their players back from injury.
Yep.
Last time we talked, Drew was hurt. Middleton was on COVID.
Yep.
Had COVID, and now they're both back. They're both playing really strong, actually. Both games I went to, sometimes Middleton would struggle at the beginning. You know, he comes around at the end of the game, and that's how he's always been.
Yep.
So I went to the Bucks game last week when they played Cavaliers.
Okay.
And Giannis played like 20. It was his birthday. Giannis played 27 minutes, had 27 points. And when I say it was the easiest 27 I've ever seen in my life, it was the easiest. It was so easy. He probably had 15 in the second half, 12 in the fourth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he can do that, they weren't even putting up the wall or anything to stop him. It was that easy.
It was really easy. Like, they just put Jared Allen on him.
Yeah, and Jared Allen, he's a good shot blocker, but, he's not, I don't think he's strong enough to work with Giannis.
He's not a Giannis stopper, you know. No one is. So.
No. And Giannis came off his first triple-double of the season, 20, 11, and 10. Chris Middleton also had 24 points that game. And the Bucks, like you said, they got their big 3 back.
Mm-hmm. And now they're getting in a groove. You know, it looks like they're a lot more comfortable out there. They're going to get DiVincenzo back now.
Yep. I was just about to say
he's going to
be
I hope he stays off the bench.
Yeah, you like Grayson Allen starting?
I like Grayson Allen. He's a little bit more, tough. I won't say tougher, but he just gives us a little more stretch wing,
Yeah.
DiVincenzo can shoot, but I think Grayson Allen is a little better shooter than he is.
Yeah. So you think DiVincenzo should be the backup point guard to Drew then?
I think it'll be a nice, switch up. You put in DiVincenzo for Grayson coming off the bench. It's perfect. You won't lose anything with both of those players.
Of course. Yeah. Some other news. What else? In the West, the Suns and the Warriors are battling out for that top seed.
I think
they split their 2 games that they had earlier a couple weeks ago.
I don't count anything the Warriors do right now until Klay comes back.
You're right. When is he coming back in January?
I think they said Christmas. They're aiming for Christmas, like the week of Christmas, for him to be back.
Yeah,
in the lineup. So I'll see how they look when he comes back. If they get better or just stay where they're at, I think they're going to get better. Because it's like right now people are sending 3 people at Steph off the screens. But if you do that now, once Klay comes back, there is a, opposing player coming off those screens too, who can also hit those shots just as well. So there's one thing to play guarding, Jordan Poole, he's consistent, but he's inconsistent at the same time. Some games he'll have 30, some games he'll have 12. But when you're guarding for, a Hall of Fame player coming off those screens, it's a lot different. So
yeah. No,
Klay is the second best shooter to ever live. So
and he's playing with the greatest shooter ever lived. And that's another story we can talk about. Steph, he's passing Ray Allen's 3-point record.
Yeah, I think he might do that. I think they play tonight.
Yeah,
I think he might do it tonight. So,
he's 6 away.
It was inevitable,
He did it in half the games. Mm-hmm. He's doing it in 930 games.
I thought it was 700 games or something like that.
Nah, it's not. It's 9? Yeah, it's 900.
Wild. But either way, that's wild because it took, how long did it take Ray Allen? 1,600 games?
Yeah, 1,700 games.
That's ridiculous. Honestly, I know that it's because of the game change.
Yeah.
But for him to make that many threes in that little time is ridiculous. I know that what's the name is coming too. Will end up passing Ray Allen as well.
Clay.
Not Clay.
Dame.
Not Dame. James Harden.
Oh,
James Harden is
right.
the only other player with like 2,000 threes right now.
Okay.
So I think he'll end up passing him in like 5 years.
Yeah.
But that's just ridiculous. Steph is
it's crazy because Steph, his first couple of years in the league, was injured. Mm-hmm. So it's just crazy that he did it in even less amount of time.
Yeah.
And then
2 less years pretty much because he was on and off the court in his first 2 years. And then he finally got healthy and he was actually playing every year.
Yeah.
And you got to think about 2 years ago when he was hurt the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So he
had that broken hand.
Probably would have passed it last year.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
If that didn't happen.
So. Yeah, you're totally right. And it's just crazy to think because Ray Allen missed this era of three-point ball by 6-7 years. And Ray Allen would have way more threes if he didn't play with the Bucks and the Supersonics. Ray would throw down on guys. Mm-hmm. He wasn't needed as that three-point shooter.
It was when he got to
the
Celtics, he was just the pure three-point shooter.
Because he became the third option. And it was just all right, I just got to sit in the corner and I'm the best three-point shooter.
He became the savior option to me. They played through Paul Pierce most of the game, or KG, Paul Pierce most of the game, and then Ray would save the game at the end of the game.
Yeah. It's
just like fucking Middleton.
Oh, yeah.
He was the exact same. At the end of the game, they're going to Ray Allen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He saved their ass so many times. I still remember in that Bulls series when I think they were down 3-2, and he hit the three to take it to not take it to overtime to win the game to take it to 7, and then they ended up winning the series and going to their second finals. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think it right. It was 10 years ago, so I'm trying to actually think about the stat.
No, that's a hard stat to remember.
Yeah, it was so long ago, but I just remember watching that Bulls Celtics series and him hitting clutch 3 after clutch 3.
Yeah. He saved them. He saved the Heat.
He saved the Heat.
If only he could have saved the Bucks back in 2001. That would have been...
Nothing could have saved the Bucks back then, man.
I know.
It was just heartbreak after heartbreak.
Hey, we finally got the ship after 50 years.
50 years. Now we're trying to repeat. I think we have a good chance to repeat.
Yeah.
The only thing is KD looks different to me.
He does.
This year is a little different KD. He was a lot more confident in his body. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Last year, he was a little iffy on his his body keeping up for the entire season.
Yeah.
Now I feel like he's going a little harder during the regular season than he did last year. And it's going to be tough to beat him in the playoffs if they have Kyrie. If he gets that plant-based vaccine they're talking about.
Is that what he's going to get?
Dude, I saw an article talking about he was going to get a plant-based vaccine or something like that.
And they'll approve of it? So is the NBA got to approve of it, or is New York got to approve of it?
I think New York has to approve of it. But if New York approves it and they say, okay, this is okay, this works. It might be up to the Brooklyn Nets, though, because they're the private organization who's keeping him out, technically. Yeah. Because he could go to practice. He could do things. So they practice. I think their practice facility is in New Jersey. Yeah. So he could actually do things and practice in New Jersey. But he can't play in Brooklyn.
Yeah, because Brooklyn will get fined or, yeah.
Man, you're a $1 billion company. Take the fine.
You're right.
I would take the fine and just let him keep playing. But
no, you're right. I mean, when Jordan first debuted his shoes, the NBA was fining him, and the Bulls just paid his fine every time. I mean, when you got a superstar, just pay the fine.
But I think it was more about, them trying to send a message to Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
That he's not bigger than the league and shit like that. But, hey, he's still Kyrie Irving. You're number 1 in the East right now. Think about if you had Kyrie. Oh, yeah. Even though he did miss a lot of time last year for random reasons. So.
Injuries, personal time.
A lot of personal time.
Yeah,
but hey, What about the Lakers, man? Like, what are your surprises about them? Because I think you had them in your top 3 for going into
I had them in the top
too.
5 just based on names, but it's not surprising to me because, like I said, they're just a bunch of names that if you had some random guy doing a fantasy team that doesn't know basketball, this is who he's going to pick.
Every single time.
LeBron James, I know him. I know
Russ,
Anthony Davis. Russ was good. He's a former MVP.
I know Carmelo.
Carmelo was good in 2K10. Like,
I know Carmelo is playing really well, though. I just think they're too old. I feel like they should have mixed that team with a bunch of young players, which they did, but a lot of the young players aren't playing because they were either hurt or they are just falling out of the lineup.
Yeah. They have no 3-point shooting. That's their problem.
Their 2 3-point shooters is
Kent Bazemore.
Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, who's garbage, always has been garbage. Who else? Kendrick Nunn is hurt, so that was one of the 3-point shooters. And that's it. That's literally in Melo. Yeah. But Melo's not that great on defense. They're the slowest team in the NBA. Like they have, I think they're last in fast break points. I think there was a stat. It was like their average speed going up and down the court is like the last in the NBA, last in fast break points, last in all like, you know, the young man stats.
Yeah. No, and today's NBA is you're running up and down the court.
And shooting threes. And if you're last in all those things, it's not going to work out for you unless you're like the Bucks who can slow it down because they're really good at defense.
And because you have Giannis who is number 1 with points in the paint.
Mm-hmm. And he shoots, I think he's shooting like 75% from the free throw this year. Like, he's not missing like he normally did. So now it's like you don't even have the bailout of fouling him anymore.
So who's your biggest surprise then in each, I guess, the East and the West?
I'd say my biggest surprise would be the Suns being as good as they are again.
Okay.
I did not think they would be good again. I thought it was going to be like a one-hitter quitter, you know, like they get to the finals and then they just fall off. So they surprised me of being number 1, number 2, actually getting to that point. My surprise in the East, I'm not really that surprised by any team in the East. I really thought that, you know, the Hornets would be up there, the Brooklyn would be up there, Chicago would be up there. I had all those teams in my, like, top. But, yeah, I don't really have a surprise in the East. I'm trying to think. My wild card for the West, though, is going to be the Grizzlies. Like I think they're going to end up being that team that is the 8 seed that beats the 1.
Well, they're up to a 5 seed right now.
Really?
Yeah. Since it's actually crazy. Since Ja Morant went out on Thanksgiving, they've won 7 out of their last 8 games.
I can see it.
So they've actually really improved. Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing really well.
Jaren Jackson has always been that lottery guy who I thought was going to end up being good. Mm-hmm. He just has so much length. He's like Giannis, where it's like he has so much raw physicality where he can really like dominate a game if you really put his mind to it. And he can shoot the 3. So it's like, because he has that 3-point presence, I think he sits around the 3 so much.
Yeah.
I think he needs to just dominate inside sometimes.
Yeah. What do you think about the Celtics?
They're really flopped.
Yeah.
Like I really thought they would though. Like they've always been that team that's either hit or miss. Mm-hmm. Like they're either, you know, top in the East or they're 9th or 8th.
Yeah.
So they're hit or miss. You know, they're young. Like they had so much success early that I don't know if they know how to deal with the failure yet.
Yeah.
Because they had success early. Their rookie years, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they just need to learn how to deal with, you know, the grind of it all because now it's just them. They don't really have those vets that kind of carry them there. It's them now. Like, they're the leaders that have to lead the team, and they don't know how to.
Yeah. And they've been hurt, too. Jaylen Brown's out. Mm-hmm. Tatum's been in and out.
On and off, yeah. I don't know. I think they blow it up. I think it's rebuild time, honestly.
Yeah.
You had your time. You have a championship caliber team or 2 championship caliber players, but I don't think they mesh well enough to win a championship.
Yeah. I think they play the same. They're like two in the same, so they kind of clash because they want to each do the same thing. And it's like, you can't have that. You need
an offense that's so good that it actually works for them to do the same thing. You know, like Clay and Steph want to do the same thing essentially, but they have an offense that's so good that they both get their shots within it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And both Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they want to do ISO off the elbow and waste 15 seconds off the clock, and that
just doesn't work.
And then pull up a deep two, which that's not
the worst percentage shot in the league. So.
Yeah, go for a deep three. That's the same percentage.
I think we might have to stop right there. I don't know where we're at on time though.
17 minutes.
17 minutes. Yeah, we can keep going. You want to do our MVP?
Yeah, sure.
Picks?
Yeah.
I'll start off. I'm going to go top 3. Steph, KD, Giannis. Giannis is the same every year. He could win MVP every single year if he really wanted to. Mm-hmm. His stats never really change, so he always can be in that league. And then KD is playing out of his mind. Only scored over 40 one time, and it was last night, and is leading the league in scoring, and he's only scored over 40 once. Steph is ridiculous. He's shooting the worst percentage of his life, but it's because he has to. So that's not a downgrade on what he's doing. He's playing ridiculous. So and they're winning. If they were losing, it'd be different.
Yeah.
If it was last year, it'd be different.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Those are my top 3 as well. KD, Steph, then Giannis. KD's leading them by 2 points, 2 more points than them. Giannis has really come around this last month.
And started scoring. Now he's in a groove, too.
Mm-hmm. And then Steph's just been coasting with, he's been at the top the entire year with KD. Mm-hmm. Might have to give it to KD, though. KD's game is just more all-around complete. He's getting more boards and assists, where Steph is more just scoring. Giannis is getting boards.
He's playing really good defense, too. He's getting I think he's 26, 27, 5 and 5 around there.
Yeah.
Steph, which is normally his stats.
Yeah, he's at 25. He's actually 5 and 6. So, and then Giannis is at 27, 11 and 6.
Yeah, Giannis should be the MVP off those stats.
He's got the best player efficiency out of the 3, but the top player efficiency rating is the reigning MVP, Jokic. Mm-hmm. Jokic is at 4th for points per game, and he's got 13 boards and 7 assists.
Wow.
So he's putting up pretty much same numbers as last year.
He's in that top 4, too. He's probably the 4th on there, but they're not.
The record's not the same as last.
The record's not that good, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, we'll see. And we'll be right back on that note. Cool.
Welcome back into the Broke Jumper Podcast. I'm Dylan Klubz. He's Tyree Pope. We just got done talking about some NBA stuff. Now going to move into the NFL realm of sports. Talking about standings and biggest surprise and MVP. So let you start off, Tyree.
We want to start with biggest surprise?
Yeah, we can start off with biggest surprise so far.
My biggest surprise is that every team sucks. No team is as good as you think they are. They all are pretty bad. This is probably the most even league has ever been. Anyone can win on any night. No team is miles ahead of one another, but it's starting to look like Kansas City is coming around. So they might be a scary situation coming up.
Yeah.
So, but no team is that good. Every team is decent. The Vikings can go from beating the Packers to losing to the Lions. Mm-hmm. Every team sucks. I don't get it.
No, you're right. Because in the AFC, the top 7 teams make it, but then there's 7 other teams still in the hunt that are a game or 2 games behind the last seed. So it's just, you're right about that.
Everyone's like right there. Like I remember like in the middle of the season, like every week there was another leader in the AFC.
Yeah.
So it was like one week it'd be Cleveland, the next week it'd be Baltimore, next week it would be Buffalo. And nobody's that good. I mean, the two scariest teams right now to me is Kansas City and New England. Mm-hmm. New England, because I know that once they get to the playoffs, Belichick can come up with a game plan to beat any team.
Yep.
So they might be scary coming playoffs. You know, they might get one win, get to the conference finals, lose to Kansas City. But I think Kansas City is coming around that groove where nobody can stop them on offense again. So
yeah.
It's like,
and Kansas City started off poor too. So they're going into their peak, and hopefully, you know, teams are hoping their peak ends at week 17 instead of, you know, at the Super Bowl. You mentioned New England. That's my biggest surprise this year, especially with a rookie quarterback. The way that they played last year, they pretty much have the same team.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised because Mac Jones is that type of Belichick style of quarterback.
You're right.
You know, who just prefers to duck it down and not, you know, overdo it. He's not like Justin Fields where it's like he's going to go to his first look every single time. Mm-hmm. You know, Justin Fields is just chucking it downfield no matter what. That Ohio State caliber quarterback, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like every play they ran was to chuck it downfield rather than with, you know, Alabama, they actually had, you know, solid game plans for each team.
Yeah.
So
Alabama, you know, pro-style offense, that really helps. And then Mac Jones got put into the perfect situation having Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. I mean, that guy should be a head coach somewhere, but he
was for the Lions, but he sucked. Wasn't he?
No, it was Denver.
That was the
Patricia. You're thinking of Patricia.
Yeah.
So
he sucked.
Yeah. No, Josh McDaniels was Denver's head coach. He drafted Tim Tebow.
Okay.
And then he was going to be the Indianapolis Colts head coach, but then backed out.
And went back to New England.
Yeah. So everyone's thinking he's going to stay for whenever Belichick retires.
And then become the next up.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense. Mm-hmm. He probably told him that he's going to retire eventually.
Yeah. So, but then on the other side, in the NFC, my biggest surprise would be the Eagles, how much they're struggling.
Because they look good at the beginning of the season, but now, you know, they've had so many injuries that it's starting to look like they're on a downward slope, you know?
Yeah.
Washington is like on the upward slope, and they're on a downward. I feel like Washington will end up like second in the NFC East, NFC East.
That's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Washington's got that last playoff spot ahead of the Eagles, ahead of the Vikings, ahead of a lot of teams that are...
They're all like 6 and 7, though.
Yep.
So it's not like no team can get over them. It's like everyone's 6 and 7 that's going for that wild card spot. So.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks, like I said before.
No, you're totally right. It's
garbage.
Top 3 teams, and then the rest just suck.
It's like Dallas, Green Bay, Cardinals,
and Tampa,
and the rest are garbage.
Yeah. And then the AFC, it's New England, Kansas City,
Baltimore win.
Lamar.
Baltimore in the second half.
Yeah. Well, Lamar's hurt, so who knows? And that division, everyone's. Baltimore's at 8-4, and then the rest are all 7-6, 6-7. So that division is going to be a shit show.
I think Steelers will end up pulling it out because they always do.
You think Tomlin's got it?
Yeah, I think they'll end up pulling out that last wild card spot.
Yeah,
just because they literally always do this. They always are decent, or they're way too good at the start, and then they suck. Now they sucked at the beginning, and now they just are getting back into a groove as a team. Mm-hmm. He needs to retire. I think that he's the problem, honestly. He can't do what he used to be able to do. They can't run their offense fully because of him. So it's time. It was just like fucking Drew Brees last year.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't run their offense to the full capacity that they wanted to. So it's time to go.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's time. Big Ben got drafted in the same year as Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. So you're right. They're both year 17.
Time. You can't throw the ball down the field, man. So it's time to go.
Yeah. And he's coming off, he had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So that's a big injury, especially as a quarterback. When you're getting
that might
hit.
be the biggest injury, like, as a quarterback, because you're constantly using your elbow.
Yeah.
Like, constantly.
So, yeah, Big Ben might have to go. Another surprise are the Bengals. They're struggling. They started off really hot, but lately they've been struggling, even though Joe Mixon looks good. Joe Burrow's dealing with a dislocated pinky. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a highlight of it on, I don't think it was SportsCenter. I saw it on, it might have been Skip and Shannon in the morning.
Yeah.
I watched that at night sometimes.
Yeah, dude, that thing was swollen.
Yeah,
like 2-3 times the size.
But that's something he can come back from. It's not something he's not going to be able to play the rest of the season with.
Yeah.
I feel like, what's his name? Ankle injury is more of a problem than
Lamar's.
The pinky, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's important to his game. The reason why he's so good is because no one can touch him. Mm-hmm. No one can get a good hit on him. So it's like him not having, that ankle, like, pressure that he normally puts on people is it could be a problem because he's going to have to sit in the pocket, and that's what he hates to do.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Want to move on to MVP talks now?
Yeah. I think it's only two guys, really. Aaron, Tom. Mm-hmm. There's not too many other candidates that look that great. Coach of the year is Belichick. There's no reason he shouldn't be coach of the year.
Yeah.
He has a rookie quarterback. They're number one in the AFC. You won't see it again, honestly.
No,
you only see it with him.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
I think the last time that I can remember a rookie quarterback being the number one seed is Big Ben back in 2004. He led the Steelers to a 15-1 record. But Tom Brady beat him out that year in the playoffs. But I agree with you. I think Tom Brady's the MVP front runner right now.
He should be the front runner. He's breaking records this year, so it's either his last, hoorah. Mm-hmm. He wins MVP and doesn't win the Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl again. I just feel like it's too tough this year, because all the teams are so even. I feel like somebody's going to get him.
Yeah.
Or he wins again and dominates handily.
Yeah.
But
what do you think about Jonathan Taylor? You think he can
be
MVP?
Running backs get the slight on MVP voting.
Yeah. No, you're right on that.
They just don't always get, the best look at it. I think he is an MVP worthy player.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to end up getting it. I think it's going to be a quarterback. And it's going to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. It depends on how each team finishes the season off.
Yeah.
I think Aaron is just getting in his groove, and he has a broken pinky or pinky toe.
Yeah.
And he's just getting in his groove throwing wise. So it's like...
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 games, he's gone off.
I think it's because he has to focus more. Because his pinky's fucking hurt, so he has to, be quick and be, super decisive right away. He doesn't have as much time to run around and get his throws off, so...
Yeah, you're right. Watching the game yesterday, they were definitely doing quick throws. They were doing motion to get Adams into the flat, and they were just dumping it off to him, doing the same thing with Lazard.
Lazard is a good number 3, wide receiver. He's big. He can block. He's fast enough. But he's just a big body to throw to. He's 6'3", 6'4", or so.
Yeah. He reminds me of Tay when Devontae first started off. Mm-hmm. Big body, good blocker, not the best catcher out there.
I think he's getting better, though. Mm-hmm. I think he's a better wide receiver at catching than Valdez Scantling.
Oh, you're 100%
Valdez
right.
is just that deep ball guy. But if you try and throw it to him, up the middle, most of the time he's going to drop it because I think he's thinking about the hit.
You're right.
So,
yeah.
Who knows? I think it's Aaron, Tom, Jonathan Taylor could get it. If he has 3, three back-to-back 150 yards at least rushing, and they win the games.
Yeah. Well, what they always do is they always give running backs the Offensive Player of the Year award. Mm-hmm.
And then the MVP goes to the
quarterback.
So.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
he's definitely the offensive player of the year because he's won games by himself, like handily by himself, just running the ball.
Yeah, he had that 5 touchdown game.
Yeah, and he had like 200 yards as well. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah, few fun things come out of Wisconsin too. That's awesome. Like on both,
the best running backs always come out of Wisconsin.
Yeah,
sometimes you'll get a couple coming from different places like Alabama and Texas.
Stanford produces.
Yeah, but for the most part, ready to go, like right out the gate, running backs come from Wisconsin most of the time.
Oh yeah,
we have the best line always in the nation. Most like good offensive linemen come from Wisconsin most of the time. Not trying to brag, but it's just a thing.
No, you're right.
We grow some big ass boys out here. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right, good place to stop. Thank you for tuning in to the Broke Jumper Podcast.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.